Alrighty, everyone. We are back this time on a Wednesday with another episode of Seminole Sideline 365. As always, my name is KB, and with me, as always, is the oldest living Florida State fan on this that we know still living, and that is Bruce, aka the Old Man. How's it going? How's it going on your end?
I'm always working out, man. I'm always taking advantage of time. You always have to take advantage of time there, KB.
2.5 pound weights are the way to go, right?
Hey, don't knock it. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it, mister. All right? Just like to know, hey, got the arrow. The climb continues, baby. The climb continues, and it's going to continue into Saturday.
Yep. After a big win last week over Syracuse, not much to take away from that game. We'll do some final thoughts before we get into
I think there are some things to take away. Yeah. What do you don't just say there's nothing to take away.
We can talk about that, but like I said, just to post it, we'll go through a couple of quick thoughts on that matchup. We won't dive too deep into it since we did our instant reaction on Saturday. Like I said, we'll do some key takeaways from that game. Then we have a special guest from the Ragin Cajun.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Can't wait for that.
Their network. We'll have Nick on, who will bring his perspective from the Louisiana side and give us their breakdown of what we should expect from their game plan coming into Saturday's matchup at Doe Campbell. So we're excited for that. So we'll get that started at around 8:45 Eastern. So, and then at the end, as always, we'll do our weather report and game prediction from across the country. So stick around for that. We have a guest picker on board for that at the end of the show. So you'll want to stick in for that. But how's everything on your end?
Everything's good, but I want to start the show. I know you do too. And all our thoughts and prayers go out to the University of Virginia campus, families, and especially the families of the deceased and injured in that tragic event that took place late Sunday evening, the shooting that took place, that took the lives of 3 UVA student athletes. And it's just tragic. And they did arrest the shooter. He was a former member of the football team. He was, I guess, an active student at UVA. And the whole thing is tragic, and we can't understand even the why of something like this happening.
Yeah.
And, we're not here to do the investigation. We leave that to the more competent people than ourselves. But it's a shame. And it has created, a real tragedy on that campus and in that city of Charlottesville, Virginia, which is a wonderful place, a great student athlete campus and city itself. If you've never been there, for anybody that's listening hasn't been there, you really need to take a trip to Charlottesville. So our hearts and prayers go out to everyone that's been affected there. And we know it's going to be a tough time. Virginia Tech at Blacksburg several years back went through a very similar mass shooting tragedy down there. And I know how much that negatively impacted them as well. So hearts and prayers out to UVA.
Well said, and like you stated, it does affect the community. I live in the DC metro area, and a lot of alumni from that school. And no matter if they were student athletes or not, it's still a terrible situation all around. And like you said, prayers to the families, and give them time to heal. They've canceled this weekend's game at home,
and rightfully so.
Yeah, and it's still up in the air if they'll play that rivalry game over Thanksgiving with Virginia Tech, but obviously that's not the priority at this time for that team and those players. So, with that said, let's dive right into takeaways from the Syracuse game. As we all know, that was a dominating performance by Florida State last weekend, going to the Dome and just dominating from every phase of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. You really took it to Syracuse, 38-3. Didn't give up. Haven't given up a touchdown in 2 straight games. Probably could have. That streak could be 3 weeks if you tried. Probably a little bit harder against Georgia Tech as well. But for the last 3 weeks, you've been dominant on defense, which has helped your offense to play loose and open up the playbook. So right now we're seeing this team, accelerate, or basically all cylinders are moving forward, which is something that I think we didn't see during that middle stretch of the schedule. But focusing on Syracuse, I think the biggest takeaway, one of my biggest takeaways for me, is that we're finally seeing Trey get the touches he deserves. And we're starting to see that star emerge. Syracuse came into this game as a top 15, top 20 defense. Something that they started the season 6-0. We know they were a little bit banged up, but they had a pretty decent defense, and we thought it may be a little bit of a back and forth. Was seeing if we could get some penetration against that defense. And once again, Trey Benson named ACC running back, player of the week, getting that honor. And he showed it. He got 18 plus carries, he was averaging almost 9 yards per carry per rush. I don't know how many missed tackles he had, how many defenders he just basically blew through those arm tackles. He's shown us. One thing he's shown me is that he could go to Sunday if he decides to. He could declare based on his injury history. Let's hope he doesn't. But based on his injury history and what he's had to go through just to get to this point, I think he's putting enough on tape. And if he finishes out the season the way he's been playing most recently, and he continues to get the touches, I don't think it would be a surprise. But he has shown, especially against Syracuse, that he is the lead back in this offense. No matter if Trayshawn Ward's healthy in my eyes or Lawrence Philly, I think they have a role. But Trey needs to be your bell cow. He needs to be your hard hitter who gets the crashes the line on first down, second down, third down, whatever it takes, because he can get those hard yards, and he always carries the pile forward. So I've been really impressed with him, and I'm glad that he's finally getting the recognition and the touches it takes to be a run-first type offense.
Yeah. He's got like 707, almost 775 yards on the season. He's averaging nationally 7.3 yards per rush. He is the back. It's not Ward. It's not Terafili. He is the guy, and you've said it all season. We need to feed him the football. And he needs to, like you said, I think he had 18 carries against Syracuse.
Yeah.
He's a guy that you can feed the ball to 15 to 20 times. He would have over 1,000 yards this season if he were not sharing reps with Ward and with Teofili.
Yes,
so he is a beast. And when you have a beast, you've got to feed him, because this guy not only goes through the hole quickly, he's got speed, he's got breakaway speed, and he can run over people. Okay, so he's a very dangerous weapon, and we clearly saw that. Now we're seeing this on a consistent basis with him now, and so I expect we'll see a heavy dose of him against the Ragin Cajuns coming up on Saturday.
And one thing to that point is that of the three of the games that you lost this season, or every game, like you said, the increase of his attempts has gone up every game pretty much. The 3 games you lost this season, he had less than 8 touches. Every game you won this season, outside the LSU game, which is week 0 or week 1, which is kind of an oblivion, he had 10 or more touches, and you won that game.
And it wasn't like we were so far behind we had to keep throwing the ball. That wasn't the case.
No,
that wasn't the case.
Outside maybe Wake Forest, that game was a little bit. You kind of had to claw back a little bit, but outside those games, like you said, you were in it. You could have fed him the ball more, controlled the time of possession, which we've been talking about. So, and I think there's a direct correlation. You give him the ball early, you wear down that defense, and he comes on even later, and he breaks those big plays.
And I think it's good
for
the rotation.
No, he doesn't fumble. One fumble all season, and as opposed to Trayshawn, who has a little bit of an issue with fumbles.
Yeah,
a little bit of an issue with fumbles.
I think the rotation of the backs is good, because, like you just said, it keeps Benson fresh for that third and fourth quarter. You're throwing different types of backs at the defensive line. And right now, nationally, Florida State's ranked number 31, and that's only against FBS teams. No FCS, no Duquesne numbers are in there, which were huge numbers. We're number 31 on rushing offense at 192 yards a game. And so you're going to see that. You're going to see that coming on Saturday. That train is coming.
And to B. Bradley's point, he says, how are we going to perform against a team like Syracuse who's going to stack the box, which they did. And and he still ran effectively against it, but it also opened up those one-on-one matches we saw with Malik McClain breaking one, Johnny Wilson breaking one for a touchdown. So to your point, B. Riley, he did run effectively against that sack box and made them pay for it, but also it led up to those matchups where you got 2 touchdowns off of single coverage and playmakers made plays, which is what you want to see. And B. Riley also brings up earlier in the season, I think Benson did have sort of a mental block where he wasn't fully, he was trying to come back from that injury. Did he fully trust his knee? And now I think he has full confidence that he's 100%. He's going full throttle, zero tentativeness in his game. I think you're directly right on there. He's playing with like he was right out of high school again. He's playing. He knows the system. He knows the blocking. He trusts his blockers. He trusts his knee. And he's just playing explosive football. And
I think unfortunately I have to agree with B. Riley as well that I think Benson's trying to put it all on tape here on the next couple of games. He's going to try to put a lot on tape on Saturday and then against the University of Florida. If he has a big game, he gets 100 yards against UF, the Gators, not looking ahead, but if he puts a big numbers, good numbers, solid numbers like he's been doing in the next 2 games, I doubt he would play in a bowl game and he would just declare for the draft because, he's really looked tremendous. He'd be 1,000-yard guy if he wasn't splitting reps.
But to your point,
he could.
But to your point, he easily would be.
He could. Yeah.
I think one of my final takeaways at this point, other than Trey establishing himself as one of the stars on this team.
And this is no disrespect to the other backs in that room.
No, absolutely not. But it's a deep room, and we haven't even talked about the Penn State transfer who's going to play next year. It's an extremely deep room. But the last thing is, I think I can firmly say, and I'm probably going to jinx myself, but I think Ryan Fitzgerald is back to where he was last season. No, that's not an elite kicker, but that's where you don't feel as hesitant throwing it out there. I think Norvell has less of a hesitancy on 4th and 6 on the 35-yard line to throw his kicker out there. Now he's willing to do that. He thinks, okay, I have a pretty good shot at getting 3 points here if I need to, and I don't have to force a 4th down conversion in that kind of middle area. I can throw Ryan out there, and I have an 80% shot of him kicking one through. I think the last 3 or 4 weeks he's proven that going back to the 3-step motion, had his old motion, he can kick it. He can kick it through accurately. Everyone he's kicked, even the one he came up short on last week, was right in the middle. It was right in the middle. Yeah. It's just the power wasn't there. So that may be a thing you
that was like a 51-yarder though,
Yeah, exactly. So, the power may not be there for 50 plus, but the accuracy seems to be back. And of course, on that field goal drive, I think like you brought up last weekend, the penalties are the things that killed that. The penalties knocked that back twice. So he would have hit it if it was at the normal spot. But I have confidence back in Ryan that he can hit these kicks in clutch situations within 45 yards. And I think that's great for the offense or great for play calling in general, because you don't have to be hesitant or double think your mind. Can I throw him out there? What is this 3rd down call going to be? Because I don't trust my kicker. I think that was a struggle we had in the middle part of the schedule when Ryan was just off the rails and couldn't kick anything.
I agree. I agree. I think that's the Syracuse wrap, and we're ready to look forward to Saturday.
Yep. So before we introduce the guests, as we all know, we have a matchup with the Ragin Cajuns of Louisiana this Saturday noon kick on ESPN3. I'm still figuring out if I have that as part of my package somewhere. Unfortunately, that's something I got to figure out come Saturday. But luckily, I have a couple of days here. Right now, the odds are stacked in Florida State's favor based on betting odds and matchup predictors, but those are only as good as the algorithms behind that. So we're going to bring in a special guest, and Bruce, why don't you give us an introduction? Nick, how's it going here?
Good, man. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great, Nick. Nick, can you hear us okay?
Hear you perfect, man.
Hey, man, in this business, you always have some technical things here or there. So, we're gonna keep rolling. KB always has a meltdown, man, when it's a technical thing. So we kind of fired one guy. Now we brought in a new guy.
I tell you, last night we were doing our live podcast, and I accidentally poured an entire glass of whiskey onto my mixer that I bought 5 short months ago. So that is getting replaced because, speaking of technical difficulties, if you hear some weirdness, that's on me. I apologize in advance, man.
Actually, Nick, I did a little scouting and was watching that when that happened. So you got. I thought you guys handled it very professionally.
Not
And Josh was in and out. He came in late,
That was not one of my better moments, but you just recover and you move on, right?
Yeah, you know what? If you're not having fun, then why do it, right?
Exactly.
Hey, let me introduce you a little bit, Nick, and then I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit more about yourself. Now, let me make sure I get your name right. I've tried. Nick Domangue.
No. I could have said no before you said it. So like all good Cajuns from Cajun country, it's not pronounced like it looks. It's let's say doe like deer, mang like tang, Domangue. You put them together, that's what you get. So it's Nick Domangue.
Nick Domangue.
There you go.
There
I like it. You got
Nick
it first try,
Domangue.
man.
Hey, man, I'll tell you, that's good. I'm going to write that down. Nick Domangue. Okay. Okay, Nick, listen, welcome to the program. We appreciate you coming on. I did, and I've looked at your guys' program, the at Ragin Review, and I suggest all viewers, if you need to get information about the Ragin Cajuns, that's the program to go to. You guys do a hell of a job there, a very professional job, and you really have the insights of what's going on, not only in Louisiana, but for the Ragin Cajun program. How did you get involved as a fan, of the Ragin Cajuns? How did that come about and you got involved in the program?
So I'll start back in 1997 when I was a student at UL. And I was involved with the baseball program with the legendary head coach, Tony Robichaux. And I was lucky enough to attend the College World Series as part of the team. And from that point on, I was hooked. And I lived in Lafayette till 2019. I ended up being the public address announcer for baseball for over 10 years with them. I was always involved with the program. And this was really a way for me to continue to be involved after moving to Houston, Texas. Jerry and Josh, the other two guys on the pod, started this 3 or 4 years ago. And it was very organic. We don't get the coverage or the national coverage or even the local coverage as Power 5 teams do. So this was a necessary thing, I think, for our fan base to represent the fans, because that's what we are. In the end of the day, we're fans, and we're here just to give a perspective that maybe, they're not going to have in the media. The media sugarcoats a lot of things, and often we'll get in a little bit of trouble that we're calling it like we see it, and we're saying what the fan base feels. And so I came aboard about a year ago, and I started working on a little bit of the video side, and then we decided to go with this platform that you guys are on as well. And it keeps growing. And again, it's organic and getting on well-established podcasts like you guys really help us out to spread the brand across the land, as we like to say. So it's really a pleasure for us to be on here talking football tonight.
Well, that's great. We're so glad to have you here. And you use some key words here, because we use the word fan perspective to that terminology, because one of my biggest complaints, Nick, and we'll cover this and then we'll get into the game a little bit, is how people in access. Do you have access to the coaches' press briefings and all that stuff? Do you guys? I
have access in baseball because my brother's a coach, but in football, not so much. And that's something that we're working with the administration on to try to get a little more access there.
Yeah, exactly. But that's been one of my complaints, is the pressers are boring as hell at Florida State, in my opinion. Now, the fans,
that's why we don't have access.
May get some dirty comments, on the old man here, but they're boring as hell. And the beat reporters feed right into it. They feed like some of these questions, like you learn nothing, and it's really bad. But we're not here to beat up on the press, and we're not here to beat up on the coaches 101 courses that they go to. I heard your coach, or I read a quote saying, we're working really hard in getting a good plan together for Florida State. What's that plan, in your opinion? What is their approach to this game? And I know that's a little overwhelming question. How are they going to approach this game? How are they going to beat this Florida State team, Dick?
Well, we're going to break you guys. That's
it. The show's over.
In the story, we're going to break you guys. Look, and I'm joking, but it's true. I mean, you look at what App State broke Texas A&M earlier this season. Marshall broke Notre Dame. ODU broke Virginia. Georgia Southern against Nebraska, same thing. We're called the Sunbelt for a reason. We don't go into any game thinking that we're not going to win. Our players, our coaches, our fans, we go to every single game. Now, look, 5-10 years ago, that wasn't the case. We were going for a payday. To us, this isn't a payday. And look, our season is not where we want us to be right now. But again, I think our biggest struggle has been so far this season on the offensive line, where we've got a brand new, and we can talk about the guy that wears the blue and orange later if you guys want to talk about him, who coached for us.
I have a question there.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get to that. But, the cupboard wasn't necessarily bare, but on the offensive line side, we were, and we had a lot of freshmen and sophomores starting and continue to start. So it was a very big learning curve for them. We suffered some injuries at that position in addition to that throughout the season. So offensively, we're nowhere near where we wanted to be. But the last couple of weeks, we've seen that offensive line step up, and we've played some pretty tough defenses. Georgia Southern, when you consider they were a solid defense last week, and also their offense was really, really good. We shut them down last week on both sides of the ball. So our offensive line is starting to protect our quarterback and to open some holes for our running back. So I really think we defensively we're good. We're top 40 in the country, but offensively, if our offensive line can get some push and get some protection and open some holes, I think that's the big key for this game. Also, and you heard it here first, our quarterback, right, that's going to be playing this week, right. Don't be surprised if we throw some kinks in that plan. I'm just saying, there might be some bag of tricks that are coming on Saturday. You'll just have to stay tuned. But if it does happen, just remember, Nick from Ragin Review broke it here first.
So are we going to see Lance play some Wildcat or get him out there?
Look, we're pulling out all the bags of tricks this game. You might see me under center. Who knows? I might be the secret weapon.
Hey, Nick. Okay, here's the deal. Okay. We allowed you to give a good sales pitch there, Nick. We give you a good sales pitch. Now, this is candid. We're no sugar here, buddy. There's a lot of FSU fans think you're full of. Okay, they think this is a walkover, and I'm pretty conservative. I don't like to look past.
Yeah, to be fair, Florida State thinks fans every game's a walkover.
No, but this isn't Duquesne, right?
Yeah,
I give you that. How do you convince FSU fans that that's right on when you have losses to Rice, UL at Monroe, South Alabama, Southern Miss, and Troy? And you've beaten Southeast Louisiana, Eastern Michigan, Marshall, Arkansas State, and Georgia Southern. You're 5-5. You're 1-3 on the road. This is a road game. You're 3-4 in the conference. You're down near the bottom of your division there. How do you convince FSU fans that you're going to put a scare into them, Nick?
Well, first of all,
he's just out there selling me a used car.
I'll start with
I'm not here to be easy on you, Nick.
Oh, go for it. When's the last time you guys were ranked in the CFP top 25? I'll tell you the last time we were.
We're asking the question.
All right. Okay. Last season, for 2 seasons in a row, top 25 team throughout the season, CFP top 25 at the end of the season. Now, I get that's not this season, but if you're saying a walkover, ask Texas A&M fans if they thought App State was a walkover. If I wish I could have the clip to show you on the stupid little yell practice, whatever that thing is that they do.
No, I know.
What is that?
These mountain men coming over here and think they're going to win. Guess what? They went over there and kicked their butts. Ask Notre Dame what they think about Marshall. We beat Marshall. Guess who Marshall beat? Notre Dame. Georgia Southern. Let's talk about Nebraska. Now it's Nebraska. But still, Georgia Southern came in with a top 15 offense. We shut them down. So you can have the elite, oh, well, it's ACC and we're better and our losses are better losses. Let me tell you, the Sunbelt is here to play football. We are a football league number 1. And you can take your P6, whatever you want to call the AAC. They don't hold a cup of coffee to us. So if you want to overlook us, go right ahead. But if the score is 10-7 at halftime, then maybe you want to tune into our halftime show, and then we could talk about if we're a walkover or not. Now, look, there is an absolute chance that we go over there and get blown out. But I just don't see it happening. I think that 24-point spread is a bit much. Do I think we're going to walk in and destroy you guys? Absolutely not. But I think we're going to have a chance. So, again, ask Texas A&M fans if they still underestimate App State or Notre Dame Marshall. I mean,
the reason why I don't think that's a fair comparison is because we all know Jimbo is one of the worst coaches in NCAA football, and he cannot focus that team. So that comparison,
Oh,
We all
man.
hate Jimbo.
He's
over
got
here.
all those
It's-
papers though.
he's not. Yeah, he's got the
Why didn't-
playbook the size of the Bible. So,
Why didn't LSU hire Jimbo? God,
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right there. Nick, that was a great defense. I think FSU fans see that a little bit. I think would you say Marshall is the best victory you've had this? Well, would you say Marshall's the best victory? And what would you say is the worst loss you've had this season?
Not
by score, but by being
upset. ULM, absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bottom of the barrel FBS, and we were blowing them out. And that's what's crazy about this team this year is we were so inconsistent. And so we were blowing out ULM, and there was one or two passes that we dropped and a missed field goal that completely changed the game. And then we collapsed. And against Troy, we were up 17-0, and we collapsed. So last week, it was good to see that we didn't. We held up and we kept it going. And yeah, maybe so. Maybe this week, I don't know. But that's what I'm looking for. That's what I think we need to do is what we did last week against Georgia State, because we didn't let off the gas. We didn't collapse. We didn't have this massive, brain fart in the middle of the game. So I would say our worst loss was ULM. Our best win to me is still going to be Georgia Southern because,
they're a quality program. No, they are a quality program. They went down and beat Florida a few years back. I think that was, didn't they? Yeah.
And
so they have a new coach.
And Marshall too, right? But you have some head scratchers in there. I mean, we should have beaten South Alabama. We should have beaten Troy. Yeah. We should have beaten ULM. And if we win those 3 games, we're having a different conversation today. So it's inconsistency throughout the season that we've had. And so seeing us get it together last week, bringing that into this week's game is what gives me a little bit of excitement.
Yeah, I heard Josh on your program said, if FSU shows up like they did against Jacksonville State, then we have a real good chance to win this game. He's exactly right. He's exactly right. However, this Florida State team is not that same team that lost to Jacksonville State. Right. Now, I hope I don't have to eat those words because I'm a guy who buys in very slowly. But this team, and I believe Coach Norvell now has learned, we don't look at polls anymore because a lot of our media here, we're ranked number 19th or 20th, and the fans, and we're this and we're that. We don't buy into that here at Seminoles Sideline 365. And I'm an alumni. Okay. I graduated. Oh, here we go. 1974, brother. And I sat through the 1973 season in the stadium when we were 0-11 prior to Bobby Bowden. Okay. So I've seen the ups and I've seen the downs. However, this team seems to be much more focused than the team last year that lost to Jacksonville State. And they seem to be playing game by game because they want this fan base to buy in. And we got on our fan base on a couple of games where they started leaving early, which really ticks us off, in that regard, because a quality, high profile program, fans don't leave.
Yeah, and we're trying to get fans into the stadium, right? And I think that's just a product of a current environment, and kids are looking to watch the game on their phone and not be there in person. But that's a whole different podcast for a whole different day. But I will say, you guys impress me. I look at the statistics you've put up, rushing wise, passing. I mean, you guys have been ridiculous. 4th down conversions, 64%, 50% 3rd down conversions. It's not going to be a cakewalk for us this week by any means. I mean, again, it's going to be a real uphill battle for us. But as I said, don't count us out. If it's a close game at halftime, then I think we start putting maybe a little bit of doubt into your guys' minds. But man, it's going to be a tough task for you guys. Allowed 6 points in the month of November. I mean, come on, that's insane. So we got a lot of work to do this week, but I'm hoping our guys show up for the challenge.
Do they rotate? Is there a good depth on the Cajuns? Do they rotate a lot of guys on defense?
Yeah, we do. We've got depth at defense. I'll tell you, that's our strongest asset on the team. We've got depth at cornerback. We've got depth at linebacker. We've got depth on the line. I would say if you're looking for players to watch on the defensive side of the ball, definitely one of our most versatile players is Trey Amos, Eric Guerra. Those are 2 guys who are a lockdown at defensive back. Zion Hill Green, watch him. Okay, he's a monster on the D line. He's half a sack away for setting the school record in sacks. So
that'll be interesting.
And then another fun Cajun name, Cam Pedesclo, right? He's a safety that I think if the story is right, he came on as a walk on, and 5 years later he's creating havoc on our defense. So we've got some hosses that play, right? They come to play, they hit hard. And we like to play man coverage. I think that's when we're at our best. But man, you guys, have 15 wide receivers, it seems, that can catch the ball. So it'll be a real challenge for our defense this week.
Absolutely. And one thing I wanted to bring out, because like you said, I think it will be, I do think it'll be at least, we'll see, the first half will tell a lot about this, whether it's going to be a close game or a blowout. Because I think with Florida State, is to your point, we've only given up 6 points in the last 6 quarters. But this team also hasn't faced adversity in a while. So when you hit it, what happens? And so if this game is close, like you said, Sunbelt teams always find a way to keep it interesting, whether it was Marshall against Notre Dame and winning that game. Like, these things happen. And this is a team that has 5 wins. It's looking for their bowl. They're looking to go to a bowl. So they have extra. This is a team that has 2 wins, right? You guys are looking to get bowl eligible. So every game, these last 2 games are extra motivation for you guys to keep fighting through the season. So I think, like you said, but I do believe Mike Norvell has his team focused to another level we haven't seen before. It's just those distractions of poll numbers and college football playoffs, which in my mind don't matter, because if you're not in the top 10, you're not playing for anything. We're not playing for anything. We're on the ACC championship. So, but I think the team will be focused. But like you said, if Louisiana can give us some adversity, how does the offense respond? How does the defense respond? Because there has been no offensive, especially on the offensive side of these Syracuse and Miami. There's been no life polls. If you guys will come in with a healthy quarterback, a healthy offense that should be able to operate something that looks like college football. The last 2 weeks, they have 2 injured quarterbacks and a banged up offenses that have not been able to execute. Now, some of that is we have a decent defense, a good defense. At the same time, injured quarterbacks are hard for our opponents to operate within. So I do think it'll be interesting, especially in the first quarter. In the first half, it'll set the tone for the rest of the game. So that's what I'm looking for. Is, can we, you guys have a well operating offense right now. Can we slow that down if we can the first quarter and so on? I think it'll roll after the first half, but I think it'll be close. Really.
Yeah,
close.
and I think too, if it's a close game, I think the difference for us will be in our special teams place kicking, because I know you guys had a little bit of struggles there. I think earlier this season, our guy kicked 5 last weekend, right? He kicked 5 field goals in one game against Georgia Southern. So I think if we keep it close and Kenny is Kenny, then it'll be a lot closer than a lot of people believe. But again, that goes back to consistency. Kenny hasn't always been consistent this season, so we can't make mistakes, right? I mean, we can every week you say it, you win the game in the trenches and don't turn the ball over, and you have a good chance to win. I think that for both of our teams this weekend definitely comes into play.
Tell us, Nick, tell us a little bit about your quarterback, because the quarterback is such a key position on any football team. And that could change the game. I've been holding our breath, and I've said this the whole season. If Jordan Travis goes down, we're a different football team on offense. Because if Jordan Travis goes down on one play, this game changes. This game really does change it, because our backups are not proven. Our backups are totally not proven. So tell us about Ben Woolridge. In what I looked at, you guys seem to be a little bit more on the run, heavier on the run. Go with the run. Let that set up the pass if possible. That he's not a guy that's going to stand back there and throw the ball 40 times and get 300, 400 yards. I don't know. Can he do that?
Look, Ben is best when he's in the pocket. When he's protected and in the pocket, he's a great elite quarterback. When he's out of the pocket, it's a little bit touch and go. Excuse me, guys. So
he's not a runner then?
He is a runner. He is a runner, but he prefers to stay in the pocket. That's when he's best at passing the ball. He can make things happen with his feet. The drawback on Ben is that Ben, when sometimes for no reason, I mean, you'll see the guy get out of the pocket and pass across his body and he'll hit the guy in stride, but he can also sit in the pocket and overthrow a receiver. So that's his drawback. Now, sorry guys.
No problem.
But now going back to Ben, we do have a backup quarterback that is good this season. He actually Chandler Fields started for us this season and got injured earlier in the season, and Ben took over. So we do have a capable backup.
Oh, okay. And he's ready to go. The backup, the starter of the season, he's ready to go too.
Oh yeah, he's ready to go at a moment's notice, and that's why I'm again, breaking news. If you see 2 quarterback rotation or something funky this weekend, don't be surprised. I think there'll be a couple kinks thrown at
What's
you guys.
the difference between the two, though, from a coaching strategy on defense? What would be the major difference? The one major difference here?
I think the Ben's passing game is a major difference. Ben's also 6'4" to Chandler's 5'10", 5'11". So I think you have a little bit of presence in the line. But look, it was a very close race, and Chandler edged him out at the beginning of the season. So they're very similar.
Yeah, Jordan Travis this season is totally different than the Jordan Travis of last season. Jordan Travis last season was a guy that wanted to run. Everything was really pull the ball down and run. He didn't have the confidence, as much confidence, to throw the ball downfield. This season, he has worked totally different. He wants to stay in the pocket. He loves to throw the ball downfield, and he doesn't run as much. But he will run if he sees the grass is greener to do that, or to pick up a crucial third down.
Yeah, and Ben's not scared to lower his shoulder and run into guys either, which I hate as a quarterback.
Yeah.
But so he's got a tough he's got a tough presence to him, and he hits with a meaning. He's not a guy who likes to slide. But again, I think it was a very close quarterback competition. There's still a lot of controversy over who should be the starting quarterback, because we were, for the first couple of games, playing a 2 quarterback system, which I hate. Okay,
I hate too.
But it helped us out when Chandler went down. Ben had experience. They knew the touch on the ball. He came in right off, the bench, and was able to perform. So I think that was a benefit, but I still hate the 2 quarterback system. There were rumors when we go back to it. They said, no, we're not, we're sticking with Ben. I'll say it again. Just be ready for some quarterback things going on this weekend.
I think that's interesting. Well, here's a note to your coach, Coach Dez. I'm not going to try to. How do you pronounce his last name? I know.
So it's Desermo.
Desermo. Okay,
yes,
Coach Desermo. I think he gets called Coach Dez a lot.
Correct.
But you can tell him the running train is coming at you, and you will have to stop that. Now, how they do that, because that's going to set up the play action here for Jordan Travis, and then the ball's going downfield. So as the corners and the safeties start stacking the box, that's what's going to happen. That's what this game is going to turn on, is how that's going to take place. Yeah. We have a great defensive end. We have some really good young linemen too that we've rotated around. Some of the more veterans that we have there in the middle. But we have Jared Verse, who is a portal guy, came in from Albany. He's going to be looking, I think, for a big day. Going to be looking for a big day if he's awake at noontime, which everybody hates those kickoffs. But any special plans on how to stop a Jared Verse?
Well, I think again, we're going back to Cam Pedescalo and also our linebacker core. They're very aggressive, right? I don't know that they have elite speed at that position, but I think they do a very good job of reading defenses and being where they need to be and closing in on running backs. So I think, again, if we're able to get stops from our linebackers on defense early in the game and able to stop your running game, because again, it's an elite level running game you guys have, very similar to ours, by the way. We have a stable of running backs that go 6 deep. So if we're able to not necessarily stop you guys, but limit the damage, then I think that gives us a little bit of a chance to sit back in coverage and let our defensive backs do their thing. Now, if you're running all over us in the first quarter, it's going to be a long day for us. So again, like you said, KB, we'll know a lot in the first quarter about how this game progresses. And again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be a hell of a challenge for us. But we'll see if we're up for the challenge this weekend.
Yeah, let me go back to the second part of the question that I covered there. Is I think we have some really good defensive linemen, Nick. And one of them is Jared Verse. And then we have some really good interior tackles. And we've got a young guy, Patrick Payton, that's coming on Joshua Farmer's coming on, besides some of the veterans we have inside there. How's your offensive line going to hold up against that type of pressure?
That is a fantastic question. I will say we do have a lot of movement on the offensive line because they try to, put guys in motion and try to, I guess, out scheme the defense because we're so young. But again, our offensive line has grown up as the season has gone on. So I think our coaches are just going to have to get creative because you guys have some beasts on that line and you've got some talented linebackers and your secondary is really, really good. So we're going to have to be creative in our play calling and no draws up the middle 3 times for 3 and out and punting the ball. We've got to figure out a way to move the ball and get those guys moving in space. And I think if we do that, we'll have a little bit of success. But again, I think we're not going to overpower you. Our offensive line absolutely will not, in my opinion, overpower your defensive line just because of your size and your experience at that position. But I do think our coaching will be up for the challenge in trying to scheme some things there.
One question I did going back, it's related to the offensive line question. The past 3 weeks, you all are, 1-3. Georgia Southern being the win last week, which is, get some momentum there. But when we're talking about Ben Woolridge and potentially a dual quarterback situation, Ben seems to you kind of pointed it out previously, is that the accuracy is a little bit. 2 of those games he had close to 45% percentage accuracy throwing the ball down the field. Last week it was 54% throwing the ball. On average for the season, he's at 51% on the road. What is that? Is that a factor of just him, a maturation of him as a quarterback? Is that interior offensive line not being able to protect him against stronger defenses? And is that, because this is an opportunistic defense the last couple of weeks for Florida State. Greedy Vance has a couple of interceptions. This defense is going to probably look to blitz and force some of those bad throws because we've been able to get great field position the last couple of weeks by forcing turnovers from some quarterbacks. Like I said, some banged up quarterbacks. And do you see that accuracy issue as something that may come into play? And that's maybe why they're going to try out another quarterback that hasn't played since October, or what do you count for that accuracy issue?
More to come on that regarding what we do next week on quarterback or this weekend. But, Ben, like I said, he can make some outstanding plays. He can get outside the pocket. And I don't want to put this all on Ben because we have wide open receivers that we have seen over and over again. I mean, we've got a 6'4" NFL talent wide receiver that makes just amazing plays. And again, he's going to play on Sundays. But there are times where he has these mental blocks where he will drop the ball or we'll throw it out to the tight end and it'll be right in his hands and he'll drop it. So this is not all on Ben. This does have a little bit to do with our wide receiver core not hanging on to the ball. But I will tell you, we've seen, especially against Marshall, when Ben is at his best, he throws dimes. And I mean, just makes unbelievable plays and our wide receivers make unbelievable catches. So we need that this weekend against you guys if we have any chance of being in that ball game. So it's a combination of things. He's under pressure a little bit by our offensive line, but again, he does get out the pocket. He throws the ball well when he's on the run, but our wide receivers have to come up big and hold on to those catches, especially when the ball is in your hands, man. We had one of our wide receivers on a couple of pods ago, and he said, if it hits you in the hands, you better catch it. So that's my opinion. If it hits you in the hands, catch the damn ball.
Yeah, we've had plenty of those issues, to your point, in the past with Florida State receivers, and that's why you saw almost 6 of them come in the transfer portal.
Let me ask you this, Nick. Just quickly, Billy Napier, how much damage did he leave going out the door at your program?
So we hired our current head coach who has no head coaching experience in the FBS because Billy told us that.
Was he on the staff, Coach Des?
He was, yes.
Okay,
he was one of our coordinators last year, not coordinators, but he was on the staff. Okay. And I think he was helping on offense. Obviously, he's a former quarterback for UL, and we love Des. So this is no knock against him. I mean, he's one of my favorite people in the world. But you would think a team in the top 25 2 years in a row in talks for CFP, that's a Texas loss last year away from being in contention for a New Year's Six game, would attract big names from around the country. And we went with Des because we trusted what Napier said, is that he would take a minimal amount of staff with him to Florida. 3 weeks later, our entire staff has gone down to the videographer, down to I mean, just the minute analysts that we had are all gone. And you've got a brand new coach who's first time coaching in FBS football, having to build a staff from scratch. So I think and then the transfer portal happened, right? And then you have to think all of the stuff came out with players getting paid now, and now you're having to deal with that in the transfer portal. So he was put in a really poor position because he was behind the 8 ball from the get-go. I think promises were made that weren't kept. And so there's a little bit of what's a way to say it? Unhappiness with the situation. We wish him well. We appreciate everything he's done for us at our program. He made us a national power for a couple of years. But I think we were all kidding ourselves when we thought we would come in and not miss a beat this season. In the back of my head, I knew it would be a struggle. I think next year is going to be a much different situation, but you can't lose an entire staff of folks and coaches and coordinators and videographers. I mean, we were just getting a videographer for the team like 2 weeks before the season started. You can't lose all these people and expect to have the same results that you did the year before. So this year has definitely been an enigma. I've got mixed feelings about that coach and that fan base. Look, when they announced Billy, it was like we were the Florida fans. They were going to cheer for UL for the rest of their lives. They're Ragin Cajuns fans. And then 2 weeks later, after we start complaining about the fact that he took our entire staff of people, then they just it was like a riot. Like those people came after us like we were the scum of the earth. So, there's a little weird love-hate relationship there. And, good luck to him.
Nick, we call that the Jimbo effect. When he left here, that type of situation. I mean, anytime. One question that kind of follows that quickly, and we've held you much longer than we said that you'd be on. So I hope you're not giving up something here.
All good, man.
But quickly, and this is how I feel. You straighten me out on this. UL may be a program like many programs, which I call a stepping stone program. If a coach comes in, does well, if Coach Des does well for 2 years, has a really good season, he takes the next best offer out to some Power 5. And that's common at some schools. Wake Forest in the ACC was like that until they really kept a couple of their coaches there for long periods of time, like they have been doing now. How do you avoid that as a program going forward to convince a guy to stay there? Now, I know it's about money. I get all that. But beyond that, in terms of fan base, in terms of not being a domino program, does that make sense?
It totally does. I mean, what happens when, let's say, I don't know, Brian Kelly for some reason goes for whatever next year and they fire him and LSU comes to get Novell. If they offer him $100 million, I'm sorry, he's gone, right? You guys, I mean, there are a lot more programs out there that are in a similar position, but not really as much because we don't have the money to even try to compete with that. But I think the way you solve it is what we did with Coach Des. He is a hometown guy. He's a Ragin Cajun from the beginning. He's always been a Ragin Cajun. He's never wanted to go anywhere else. And I don't think that he has aspirations to go anywhere else. So I think this is a Frank Solich for us. If it works out, if he has the success we think he has, he's going to be here for 20 years. So I don't think this is a stepping stone job for Des. But I think if we did hire externally, I think, yes, you are correct. It's a stepping stone job. But there have been some really, really good programs. Look at App State, right? That have been stepping stone jobs, and they continue the success each and every year. So and
some guys are comfortable, right? And some coaches are comfortable. Like you say, he's a hometown guy. That if he has success and wants to build a program, the fans support it, the administration support it. Some of those guys will stay. They'll stay a long period of time because they don't want to keep moving their families around, rebuilding programs and all of that. And they're happy with a certain amount of money. And so hopefully that could be the case there. And then it really establishes it.
And look, we were paying Billy a couple $1 million a year. We were paying his staff, a couple $1 million a year. So it's not like, I mean, if he wanted to stay here and be here for life. He would have made a ton of money, not as much as Florida, obviously. But again, he hired, I mean, our offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators are all guys who have ties to the program and ties to the Lafayette area. And I think that's how you hold on to a staff. Now, we've got to have that success. In 3 years, if we're still not making bowl games or something's going wrong, then there's another conversation to be had. But if we have the success like we think we have, I think we're going to hold on to the staff for a really long time.
Well, here's the good news. If you lose to Florida State, you have Texas State, who is really down at the bottom, right?
Look, I don't take, after the way this season has gone, I don't take any team for granted.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
we lost to
right.
freaking ULM, man.
Yeah.
So I don't take any team for granted. It's one game at a time. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the challenge. Unbelievable that this is the first time that we meet in football ever.
Yeah.
So I know our fans will be excited to visit your stadium and Tallahassee. And
They'll be welcomed.
And before I go, I do want to ask a question because we do have some fans watching tonight. What are the places that we need to hit up while we're in Tallahassee? Is there any spot that we need to eat at or drink at, or what do you guys recommend?
KB's the socialite. Tell him, KB, where to go.
Well, I mean, you know all the places from the 70s that made the old school places, but I would say, I mean, the obvious spot's always Madison Social because it's right by the stadium. You can get whatever drink you want. It's got the best food, and just right down there in College Town, you have a bunch of old new. That's like the new development area that has all the nice restaurants that you can get a drink, get some food, do brunch, or I guess it's noon, it's not brunch anymore, but you could do a early late breakfast there at 11, walk over to the stadium, have a little buzz on you, and then walk right in, and then afterwards walk back to the Madison Social, get another drink, get some food, and then go wherever you want to go. So I would say go to College Town, walk around. Madison Social will be your number one spot for me. It's just easy. They'll have the garage doors open so you can see out to the stadium and into the field. It'll be nice. That's what I would.
Yeah, I agree. Madison Social. Now Friday night, you can tell your fans if you can get there, Friday afternoon, Friday night, they have a big outdoor concert down there.
Yeah.
It'll be really rocking and rolling, down there, and they have a good, somebody's coming in. I forget who the name is, but everybody liked them.
The block
whoever
party.
it is coming in for the Friday night concert there at Madison Social. Just remember that. That'll take care of your needs down there.
Well, look, we appreciate you throwing a victory concert for us. We look forward to it. And
now that's Friday night. That's Friday night.
Hey, we're getting ahead of the game. But look, you guys, I really am looking forward to this game. As I said, no offense. I hope we break you guys like our teams have broken other teams this season. But we wish you the best. We hope there are no injuries, and we hope for a good game.
Absolutely.
Well, I've got at least one more question.
Oh,
KB,
dude,
you got anything else?
You got to stop him. You got to stop him, or he'll never let you go.
Hey, wait a minute. These guys had a 2-hour show, KB. Give me a break.
I'm ready for it. Bring it, man.
Here's the most important question that we have, Nick. Really, it really is. Okay, now we told you where to go. Hot sauce challenge, brother. Hot sauce challenge. Now, I've got 2 bottles here. If you guys beat us, KB's going to drink one, and I'll drink the other one. Okay, here we go.
Wait a minute.
I got the original. No, I'm just making that up. I'm going to drink this shit. I got the original Louisiana hot sauce. Can you see it? I'm maneuvering the bottle.
I see it, yeah.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
That's Crystal.
Yeah. The shit. Oh, I got the wrong one. Okay. Hey, I'm an old confused guy. All right. We got the original Louisiana hot sauce. Okay, I got that. Have you ever heard of this one?
Are you
It's
kidding me?
made in
Come
Louisiana.
on, man. Have you not read my last name? Are you serious right now?
The original.
Have you
I
heard
got
of
that
gumbo
one.
before?
And then I got Crystal. They're both the Crystal hot sauce. Which one, man? Which one should we use when we're eating at dinner?
Tabasco. Are you kidding me? What are you talking about?
Wrong answer. Okay, wrong answer.
Now look, Dustin Poirier came up with his own hot sauce, and I will tell you, I cooked a gumbo and I ate some tonight, and I put some of that Dustin Poirier's hot sauce in there. So you got to try it.
That's actually good. Okay, all right, that's good to know. I always see him marketing that. So
and here's a something that actually is really serious. But I was reading. I get these travel and leisure things because I'm on the road a little bit, as KB knows. But they said a number one city to visit. It was now I'm going to mispronounce it here. Lafayette, Louisiana.
Well, you almost got it right. Lafayette, like Laffy Taffy.
Lafayette.
And I will tell you,
Lafayette, Louisiana. Why are they number one on this, guys? And this was a legitimate travel site. I think it was Lemming Travel or something.
Yeah. So I will just say that people from New Orleans actually take tours. They're called food tours and buses to Lafayette to try all of the food there, because it's the original Cajun culinary cuisine, whatever you want to call it, in Lafayette. Our culture is so deep, and there's just so much to do. There's a festival every single weekend, and that's part of the reason for our attendance issues, because every single weekend there's something going on, right? But a city of its size, and the number of restaurants they have, and the number of things to do, and our music and the festivals, and we've got an international festival once a year that brings in top acts from around the world. That makes it special. The people are special, the culture is special, and the food, you'll gain at least 10 pounds if you're there for 3 days. So there's a lot going on in Lafayette. It's a wonderful place. I miss home. I try to get back as much as I can. Thankfully, it's only a 3-hour drive.
Oh, that's great.
Well, Nick, we do have a question from the crowd, and I don't know what reference it means. I don't know if it's offensive or not, but
can you read it there, Nick?
Yeah, I can read it.
I don't know.
Cayenne is a phallic symbol looking mascot that we had, in the shape of a chili pepper. And look, the Fabulous Cajun Chicken, that was an organic thing. A guy named Russell Heim in the late 70s, early 80s developed this chicken and actually got into some kind of legal battle with the Fabulous San Diego Chicken. So that was a whole deal. But we don't have a mascot right now. We're pushing the admin to do something. Our idea is an alligator, because we actually have a swamp on campus. Oh, imagine that. Somebody stole our whatever. We're not going to get into that. But we're looking at different mascots. We're trying to get one, but Cayenne was about the ugliest, nastiest, stupidest mascot that we ever had. We hate him, right? But the rest of the country loves him. So I guess our admin knew better than us. There he is.
Oh, there it is.
That
is that him right there?
That is
he's scary looking. He's got that face is scary.
Oh, and that's the later version. There was one that was an all-in-one pepper. I mean, oh gosh, man, this is bringing back awful memories.
Hey, we told Nick, we warned you. This is candid and unfiltered, man.
Now go back up and check out the Cajun chicken. You'll see a couple there. And again, like I mentioned,
there he is.
There was a lawsuit between he and the Fabulous San Diego Chicken with the Padres years and years ago. So that was interesting. We do miss the Fabulous Cajun Chicken. We do wish he would come back, but I think he's hung up the feathers because he's gotten a little up in age.
That's great. That's great. Great question, B. Riley.
Yeah, B. Riley.
Hey, Nick, listen, thanks so much. For taking time out of your schedule and being with us tonight here. And you guys have a great show there. And we want all the viewers that follow us to support these guys. They're doing a great job, and we will continue to tweet things out, Rage and Review. And it's just been really great having you on here. You guys got a great team there.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Like I said, best of luck this weekend. No injuries, and it was a pleasure. This was a lot of fun.
And if you do beat us, don't ever call us again, Nick.
I'll be knocking on your door.
I ain't drinking it.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, dude.
Have a good one, Nick. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Awesome. Well, we want to thank Nick again from the Rage and Review. Like we said, follow them on Twitter. You'll see us tagging them in our posts. So first of all, follow us, and then you can follow them. But find them at Ragin, RAGIN.
Great guys.
Great show. So they've done some interviews this week about doing the Seminoles preview. So go watch their Seminoles preview before Saturday, maybe with your coffee on Friday or Saturday. And
it's like episode 24. It's episode 24 that they have up. They do a real good job there, including a few technical errors, which we all have, which KB had a meltdown on last week. And it's really good insights how they talk about Florida State. So you get a different perspective than listening to the same thing.
Give them a watch and give them a like as well. So
I think it's time for our weather report.
Yeah, I hope you have something prepared because I don't. So,
I do. I have a guest. I have a special guest.
Who are we bringing in? Who are you bringing in?
One of our loyal supporters. of the program. He is a high school. You going to bring him in or what?
Is he it's the chicken. We're bringing in the chicken.
The chicken.
He used to be the chicken. He's going
to give us our Tallahassee weather, which I love doing that. But he is one. We've asked guests if any of our supporters that want to do our spot weather reports, which are crucial to the coaches and to the fans. He's here tonight to do that.
And he used to be the Cajun chicken. He used to be the Cajun chicken.
Let's bring him in. And there he is. And his name is Christian, and I won't give his last name, Christian L. He's one of our followers and loyal supporters, and we've asked Christian. He wanted to come on, so here he is. And Christian, we also know that you're a high school football player. You're going to give us some predictions. The guy loves sports. I also, from your bio, you told me you're not only a football player, you ran some track. You're also a really good golfer, and you're a junior at Paul VI High School in Ashburn, Virginia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you can hear us okay?
Yes, can you guys hear me okay?
Okay, yes, and don't be intimidated by us, okay? We know you're not used to this being on the air. We don't want you to feel intimidated, especially by KB. I'm here to welcome you, and so on. But the weather report, which I usually give, unless we have a guest like yourself, is important. Not only the coaches, whether they need to practice with a wet ball or cold ball. Now, you live up north, correct, in Virginia, so it's cold up there. And I understand, and you'll tell us in a few minutes, you got a championship game that you guys are playing Saturday or Sunday this weekend?
Sunday morning.
Okay, so you know the weather is important up there. Tell us about the Tallahassee weather, what the Tallahassee fans, everybody should expect here in Tallahassee.
All right, so this Saturday, it's for Florida, I guess it's a little cold, but a very mild day overall. We have a 12 o'clock game time down in Tallahassee this weekend. Very cold morning in the high 30s to start, but it quickly warms up.
Wow. Okay.
In the early morning. Quickly warms up to around 60, 65 degrees by game time, so we should be good to go.
Perfect.
Wind won't be a huge factor at all, around 3 to 5 mile per hour winds throughout the game, so that won't affect anything. No chance of precipitation at all. So, I mean, overall, the game plan for both coaches should not be deterred at all by the weather. We pass all over the field, run the ball, whatever needs to happen.
Excellent. That's excellent. Okay, so fans, here's your weather report for Tallahassee. Great weather. You don't need your poncho. You don't need a rain jacket. You might need get your I don't know, a light jacket, something like that, especially if you're in the shady section of the stadium. That looks good. Okay, that's super. Okay, let's move on to some game predictions that we have coming up here. Now, Christian, you know football. You play football. I know you watch a lot of football from what you've said. You're going to call these games based on the point spread, and then we're gonna see how we all match up. Okay, let's go to the first game we have, and that is the Miami Hurricanes, who we hate, play Clemson. And where is that game, Christian?
It is in.
You got to know this, Christian. You got to.
It's in Clemson. It's at Clemson.
Okay, it's at Clemson. Okay, what do you got in this game? Tell us about this game, Christian.
So big time ACC matchup. Clemson has been very disappointing throughout the whole season, in my opinion. Sold a lot of games that I think everyone thought they would have won. So I think this is another occasion. I don't think it's going to be.
Clemson's only lost one game.
They haven't played up to their capabilities, though, I would not say. They lost to an unranked Notre Dame team that's now ranked number 20 and had a lot of close calls this year. So, again, I don't think this will be a blowout from the start type of game. Stat-wise, both teams have almost the same offensive and defensive production. The problem is for Miami, their quarterback Van Dyke is very often on QB. You never know what you're going to get out of him.
Is he going to start? Is he ready to go?
I think so.
Okay.
And then, but I think overall, very close first half. But I think Will Shipley of Clemson will give the Hurricanes problems in the second half, and I think Clemson will cover the spread late in the game.
I agree. You can put me down for covering the spread. And so I agree with Christian that Clemson covers the spread and wins this ball game easily.
Yep, I agree.
KB's in.
I think Will Shipley is going to run all over them, just like Florida State did.
Miami's Miami's a dumpster fire still, and they'll be lucky if Van Dyke makes it through the first quarter.
I do think they could keep it somewhat close if Van Dyke plays, but if he's not 100%,
he's not.
I don't think he is. I think even Clemson could just run the ball down their throat.
Even though Miami had a big win last week. Okay,
a big win for them is just.
Let's move on to UCLA and USC, which is a classic in-state battle. Back in the day when they were both dominating teams, it was a huge game, primetime game. What do you got on this one, Christian?
Yeah, so as you said, big time Pac-12 game down in California. It's in Pasadena. USC is favored by 2.5 points, which in my opinion is very close for this game. Again, I think UCLA is a very, very overrated team based on some of their games this year. Both as normal Pac-12 goes, very high scoring offensive, not much defense. Both average around 500 yards per game on the offensive side of the ball. One person to highlight for USC is their QB, Caleb Williams. He's out of a WCAC school, Gonzaga near me. So I've seen him play throughout high school. I think he's going to be the wow factor in this game. UCLA also has a very good running back, so that's their wow factor for their offense. I also think USC has a much better coach than UCLA and Lincoln Riley. So I think that will push them over the edge. And I got USC by 14. I think they take care of business down in Pasadena.
Wow. Okay. The spread. I'm going to pick USC. I think the spread. I think they'll cover that spread. It's 2 points. I think it was. Go back to your other.
2.5.
Go back to your other chart.
2.5.
Okay. Go back to the other chart. I'm going to go with USC at 2.5. I'm going to take USC in this one. That's
Christian,
pretty
who did
easy.
you have? You had
USC. Yeah.
I had USC.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lincoln Riley's going to, this would be very disappointing if he lost that game. KB, what are you doing on that one?
The only toss-up here is that Travis Dye, the USC running back, is out. He got hurt late last week in the game. So that is they were losing their 800-yard running back for USC. So I do think it'll be close, but I do think USC has more weapons in this matchup. They're 9-1, so I'm going to take USC even on the road. So, I agree with you guys with that small spread.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, which high school football doesn't have spreads that I'm aware of, but we seem to be betting on everything in this country these days. And this is the PVI game, which Christian's part of that PVI football program, has been since you were a freshman, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Sir. And you're playing Carroll High School from DC, is that correct?
Yes, Archbishop Carroll High School.
And this is for the Diocese Championship there in DC, or what?
Washington Catholic Athletic Conference, which is a big DMV
powerhouse.
Yeah.
Okay, powerhouse. You get a lot of D1 and a lot of FBS, FCS players, and even the Division III players come out of this conference and gets a lot of attention by coaches. We know that for sure. Okay, what do you got? What's your breakout on this game?
So definitely biggest motivation.
And let me stop you. And if you pick against your team, your teammates are not going to like that.
Yeah, definitely. Going into this game, I think the biggest motivation coming from a PVI player is we haven't been to a championship since 1999. So we're ready to bring one home back for our home crowd, and that hasn't been done in over 20 years. Just from like the social media hype, PVI is definitely considered the underdog. Carroll was a ESPN top 100 team to start the year. They definitely have a more star-studded team in terms of recruiting. They have the number 9 overall prospect in the country in Nick Harbor. But I think what puts us over the edge is Archbishop Carroll has a lot of problems with penalties, dumb penalties, lack of discipline, stuff like that. And overall, I think PVI is just we're more motivated. We're tougher than them. Our team morale is much higher than them. So I think if we stay together as a team, our defense has been winning all our games so far. We don't allow many points. So I think if we stay together as a team, our defense plays like we normally play. Defense wins championships. So PVI by 7, 14-7.
Wow. Okay. And a close one. And is that my understanding? The game is over at the Naval Academy. Is that correct? In their stadium there?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Big time. What time is the game and what day is it?
Sunday at 11:30.
Sunday at 11:30. Is that going to be on YouTube? Any place people can watch?
We haven't been sent links yet, but I'm sure coming up to the weekend, Friday, Saturday, we'll be.
Valley Sports app.
All right, that's excellent. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, so Christian picks PVI in a close ball game, and let me ask you one question about that. You guys haven't played in a championship game before. How are you going to handle the jitters of that team?
I mean, we've met them in the regular season before, so we know what we're coming up against. It should be no surprise for us. And I mean, our home student section alone is rated one of the best in the country. So I mean, the hype for games is no surprise to us. So I think we should be just fine. Okay,
excellent. Okay, Christian picks PVI to the PVI Panthers. The PVI Panthers, and it's my understanding you have a sister, an older sister that goes to the #1 FBS team in the country down in Athens, Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
It is. You want to give her a little shout out on the program here?
Yeah, I guess shout out Kayla if you're watching.
That's it.
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, she's at the #1. My understanding, she was at that big game, Georgia and Tennessee, correct?
Yes, once in a lifetime game to go see.
Wow. She was holding a hot ticket, and I bet you she had a great time. All right, so I'm gonna go with the PVI and the upset here. Straight up, score. PVI, I think, is hungry to bring in the very first championship. I'm going with the PVI Panthers.
Great breakdown.
If I had one of those heads,
let me get my pick out, then you can do more analysis. I'm gonna say hunger doesn't win you games. Most of the time, talent and practice, talent development will. I'm gonna go with Carroll. I think that monster on the line, Nicholas Harbor, number 11 player in the country, number 12 player in the country on the edge.
They got to plan to stop that guy. They got to plan to stop.
I think he's going to be like the Jared Verse of Christian's nightmares come Sunday. So I hope your coach, whatever his name is having a game plan of how you're going to stop him this weekend. But that's the guy that scares me. The guy's
it's hard.
41 offers, number 12 player in the country on the edge, 6'5", 225 in high school. That's what would be keeping me up. So
don't be intimidated. When you go onto that field, Christian, you guys don't be intimidated.
I think it'll be close. Both teams are very good. But and did you guys play them early in the season? Remind us.
We played them towards the end of the season. They were second to last game.
Okay. How'd that go?
We lost by 8.
So I think it'll be close.
That's
it's
close.
A neutral field.
Very close game at their field too.
Yeah.
So turnovers.
Neutral field. If you stop him, you keep protect your quarterback. I think you guys swing it, but I'm gonna say Carroll for now.
My understanding is you guys don't throw the ball a lot, so it's probably not going to be a factor. Him standing in the pocket and this guy rushing him, right?
We run a triple option offense, but we got a few wrinkles in the game plan to throw out on this week.
I hope so. I hope so. All right, let's move on to the final game on the board. The most important game before we close out this program tonight. We got FSU and the Ragin Cajuns, and this is the biggest spread of the night, 24 points.
Yeah.
They are disrespecting the Ragin Cajuns.
Well,
so, I mean,
we're their biggest game by a mile.
Sports world. Okay, 24 points. Christian, what do you got on this?
So as you said, largest spread of the night, 24 points. FSU overall is just on paper the better team. Coming off of huge wins versus Syracuse, Miami with huge margins. But again, Louisiana is not a team to just look over, can't play down to their level. They have a few semi-big wins versus decent teams this year, such as 36-17 versus Georgia Southern, who's kept it close with a few teams over the year. And then a 23-13 win over Marshall, who's had some upsets such as Notre Dame. So definitely not a team to overlook. They have nothing to lose, just beat us. So I say it's a little close in the first half, not what we're thinking, but FSU just rolls over them in the second half. 45-14 FSU, cover the spread.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to agree with Christian on a lot of his analysis there. I think Florida State's going to they're going to get maximum effectiveness out of the possessions that they have. They're going to convert points on 75 to 80% of their possessions, like they did the last couple of weeks, where they're taking the ball down, they're getting points. Their red zone conversions are actually getting better. They're still ranked 97th nationally. They're converting at 79% of their red zone conversions at this point of the season. I think they're disciplined enough. They're not going to turn the ball over a lot. Jordan Travis is going to make some good reads in his passing game. They're going to, the Cajuns are going to have to come up to stop the run. They're going to stack the box, and then the ball's going to go over the top. Florida State covers this game and probably wins by about 30.
Yeah, I think to Christian's point, Louisiana doesn't have a tough schedule, but they beat Marshall, who's beat some teams. But Florida State, by and far, is their toughest game of the last 20 games that they've played over 2 seasons. So I think they'll be hyped to come into this game to show what they have. And like you said, they have nothing to lose and everything they gain. They can gain a bowl game spot if they win this game, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think this is a different Florida State team than the team that lost to Jackson State. I think they have a better offensive line. They can dominate the trenches. The team that wins the trenches normally wins the game. Florida State's been playing clean football. I think they'll stick with the running game. They won't force themselves to have to pump the ball down the field with long passes, stuff like that. They'll just lean on the passing game, lean on that line, chunk play after chunk play, control the time of possession. It may not be pretty, but I think they'll win by 24 by the end of the game. By any means, I don't think it'll be a blowout in conventional terms of 30 plus, but I think they'll just lean on the line, run the ball, open up the pass game here and there, but I don't think they'll be forced to have to do anything crazy. The only thing I could flip this game, though, if they get sloppy, they fumble on the line, stuff like that we saw early in the season, that's the only way I think this game stays close. If you fumble it, beat yourself early, keep this game. And that's the only factor, too, is this is a team that has a healthy quarterback. The last 2 or 3 weeks, we played 3 teams, Syracuse, Miami, Georgia Tech, that was missing their starting quarterback. So this is a team, granted, lower caliber team, we may say, but they do have a starting caliber offense or quarterback that's going to operate their offense to full efficiency. So it's up to us to not beat ourselves, bring the game plan, and dominate from the first quarter on in all phases.
I think the other big factor in this game that they're not used to is the crowd noise.
I don't think it'll be that crowded. It'll be that crowded.
Well, that's sad. That will be something to talk about if it's not. I think it should be probably 75% capacity. Now, the problem is a noontime kickoff sucks. Those games suck. But the fans should be out there to support the team. I think there'll be at least 70% fill rate, and the Noles will roll in this one. And that's 70% fill rate is bigger than the average crowd for the Ragin Cajuns, which I think their last game was like 11,000.
Yeah. So
all right. Now, and so we should flip up. Well, I don't know why you took down that Jody, the comment from that Jody.
I didn't take any comment down.
You took it down. It was a challenge to KB. If PVI wins, you will do a chug on the Louisiana hot sauce. No, you took down the Jody one.
There is no Jody comment.
No, I saw it. So you're saying it was in my head?
Comments. Yes.
Sorry. That's the one right there. That's the one right there. I'm sorry. That's the one right there. And B. Riley. Okay, so he's turned that down. B. Riley has it at what? What did B. Riley?
I don't know. You told me to turn it down.
No. Put B. Riley back up. B. Riley 52-6. I don't know. That seems a little strong, but if all the cylinders are clicking, B. Riley, you could be right. Hey, Christian, we thank you for being on the program tonight, and we do wish you and the PVI Panthers from Ashburn, Virginia, the very best in your battle against Carroll High School this weekend.
And if you guys do pull off the upset, Christian, I will do the hot sauce challenge live on air. Wow. So you guys pull off the upset in Annapolis,
We'll have you back on.
I'll do the
Sounds
challenge.
good. Sounds good.
Good luck. Good luck
All
this
right,
weekend.
man. Good luck.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Have a good one. Have a good one.
Thanks for following us, man. Thanks for following us. We appreciate all our loyal subscribers and viewers, not only on Twitter, but also here. Doubt me at your peril. I love this guy. We appreciate all our loyal followers and subscribers, Twitter, here, Instagram. We have the podcast out there. And so listen, we're a fan perspective, much like the Ragin Review. We're trying to give you what we feel as fans. We don't have the access. I don't think we need the access. We get plenty of access to get our opinions together, and we try to have fun on the show as well. We love your interaction, questions, comments, and get the word out there. And let's keep this program running. I believe the climb is real. I think we have some stones to cover, but we can't let down against a program like Louisiana. Okay, this is no disrespect to them. They are a program at a different level than where we should be. Okay, and I think they're going to come in, they're going to play hard, but I think we will wear them down, as KB already explained, and I don't need to go back through. So let's get out, let's support the Noles, and let's not be looking ahead. We don't look ahead to anybody. We're already seeing bowl projections. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the last thing I have for tonight, and then I'll turn it over to you, KB, is shout out to a couple award nominees. And that is quarterback Jordan Travis, a semifinalist now for the Davey O'Brien Quarterback Award for the best college quarterback. He is one of 21 nominees, so there's some stiff competition there. Dagby says, yo, great to have you always, a Dagby. And then the offensive coordinator, Alex Atkins, is a nominee for the 2022 season Broyles Award, which is for the nation's top assistant coach. He's one of 51, so very stiff competition. But just to get nominated is a big deal. So congratulations to both of them for the nominee. And KB, I don't have anything else.
Yep, I think that's great. Like you said, congrats to I think Dylan Gibbons also got named to another award tonight. I don't know if you mentioned that.
No, I didn't mention
named
it.
to it was just announced, I think, today, this afternoon, to the Jason Witten Award semifinalist list.
Oh, nice. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was just today. So he's raking in or he's getting added to a lot of these lists, which is great. So hopefully they can continue. All players on this team, not just the ones that are getting recognition, can continue to play hard, play fast, execute the game plan, because that's how this thing works. We may not have the most talented team in the nation or in the ACC, but when everyone does their job, sticks to the game plan, and is playing fast like they are, they play better than the stars would indicate. So I'm happy about it. Like you said, don't overlook Louisiana.
And let me finish.
Wear them down, and we win.
Let me finish with a lightning finish here. We're guaranteed second place in the division. I know in our division, the ACC, I know people don't care about that. But you know what? Here's what is important, and this is what Coach Novara says. This is another season of growth and development, and we have seen that. We have seen that.
But you got to finish out this.
We have seen that. I understand that.
Yeah, you got to finish.
The fan base is buying into Coach Norvell, and if you're buying in, then we need to follow this team till the end. And the practices, they had good practices this week. And one note of interest, it looks like they're trying to get a redshirt season for Duffy, quarterback AJ Duffy, and Rodney Hill. That's why you're not seeing them even in the blowouts. They're trying to make sure that they hold them back a little bit.
Yeah, so they could probably play 2 more games of the last 3. So you may see them against Florida or in the bowl game. But yeah, that's a good call. So thank you all for the time. Again, like the video if you're watching live or later on demand. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, share it on Twitter. We appreciate all the time and support y'all give us. As always, either one or both of us will be here for the live reaction on Saturday at about 3:00 after hopefully a victory. But regardless, win or lose, we'll be here with a live reaction season. Maybe short, maybe long. We never know, depending on how we're feeling. But join us on Saturday at 3 o'clock if you have some time, or watch it later on in the day because it'll always be available here on YouTube. So we'll see you on Saturday. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week, and stay safe. And we'll see you soon, guys. Take care.
See you later.
Bye, guys.